Alright, we're going to discuss something called Ohm's Law, and it has absolutely nothing to do with meditation. So if you think we're going to take a moment here and just kind of meditate and, I don't know, just kind of zone out, you're sadly mistaken. So I'm sorry if you were all excited about that. Ohm's Law has to do with circuitry, and so we're going to go ahead and learn the equation first and then study a little bit more about the idea of circuits. So, Ohm's law is the relationship between the current, the voltage, and the resistance of a particular circuit. And so, within a circuit itself, we have a current. So, how much basically amperes, how much current is running through that particular, as you'll see later, how much current's running through that wire. Um, and then you've got a voltage difference. So the current is equal to the voltage difference. So how many volts? So like for example a battery. And that's divided by the resistance. And that's in ohms. And a resistance is something like a light bulb. Something that takes basically, I always think of it as something like basically that takes power. And so your basic equation that we'll be using is this right here. I equals V over R. Um, so that's the equation we'll be using for all these problems. So let's go and, I guess, work this out. Okay, so here we go. So we said the equation we're going to use is I equals V over R. Yeah, we have a R, so we sound like a pirate. So remember that I, V, R. And again, I stands for current. And it's going to be in amps. Okay, so like I always think of that like I always think of like how you have a guitar and you plug it into an amp. That's kind of the same thing. Okay, and V just stands for, of course, volts. V, and R stands for resistance. And this is the weird one though. It stands for ohms, and ohms is just like a horseshoe. Okay. All right. So let's look at our problem. What is the current, okay, of a circuit that has a resistance of 10 ohms and a voltage difference of 15 volts? Okay, so we have 10 ohms, so our resistance is 10, and a voltage difference of 10 volts. I'm sorry, 15 volts. I think I said 10 again. Okay, so on this one, we're trying to find that current. So this one's a straight division problem where we have I equals V, which is 15, over R, which is 10. So we're basically taking 15 divided by 10, or last time I checked, that's 1.5, and it's current, so it's going to be an A. So hopefully this is going back to maybe some really basic math or basic equations, a lot easier hopefully than that last equation of, Q equals S times M times delta T, but we'll see, hey. Alright, let's try another one, right? I equals V over R. Like R, matey. I know the pirate jokes are not going to end. Alright, let's see. Calculate the voltage difference in a circuit with a resistance of 25 ohms if the current in the circuit is 0.5 amps. Okay, so they give us a 25 ohms. So 25 ohms matches up with your resistance. So this is R. And then they give us 0.5 amps, which 0.5 amps is your current. So we want to find the voltage on this one. So 0.5 is equal to the volts. We don't know. So I'm just going to leave that as V. Sorry. Over 25. Now, mathematically, if you have the side and the bottom, all you have to do is take those two and you just multiply them together. So I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator. And I'm going to simply take 25 times 0.5, 12.5. So V is going to be equal to 12.5 volts. Okay. Alrighty. And last but not least, example number 3. I equals V over R. So I equals V equals R equals. Okay, so a current of 0.5 amps flows in a 60-watt light bulb when the voltage difference between the ends of the filament is 120 volts. What is the resistance of the filament? Okay, so a current of 0.5 amps. Okay, so 0.5 amps, so that's our current. 60 watts. Let's see. Watts. We have nothing to do with watts in this problem. That's just extra stuff. Look at that. I'm going to even mark that out because I don't need that. And I go down here, 120 volts. Voltage. That's part of my problem. And then resistance is my question, which is good because that's the only thing I have left. So now I'm ready to plug in 0.5 equals V, which is 120, over R, I don't know. So this one, notice that I have the R on the bottom, but I have the top. So this one, what you do is basically switch these two places. So now I'm going to take 120 and I'm going to divide it by 0.5. It's going to be a really big number. Maybe. My calculator will work today. 240. This is not a huge number. Now it's R, so it's going to be measured in ohms. Okay. Alright, so there goes through an example of how to solve for each one of the variables within the ohms equation. So our next step will be talking about circuits in general, the different parts of a circuit, and then we'll also get into parallel versus series circuits, and then we're going to even get in lab and let you guys play a little bit with circuits themselves. So let our circuit journey begin, right?